Hi friends, to trust God in the light is nothing, but trust Him in the dark. That is faith. Welcome all to another episode of our online class. Last class we started a letter to God written by G.L. Fuentes. In that lesson, we studied about Lencho. Lencho, an ardent believer in God, and he had his own farmland on the foothills, and there his home, and he is expecting a good harvest. Only one thing needed, that is a downpour, a slight amount of rain. And according to his wish, the rain began to fall, but after some time there began to fall hailstones, and it lasted for almost an hour, and after that his field was full of hailstones, and his field looked like a field full of salt. So what happened to Lencho and his field after that? That is what we are going to discuss in this part of the lesson. So welcome all once again. Not a leaf remained on the trees. The corn was totally destroyed. The flowers were gone from the plants. Lencho's soul was filled with sadness. When the storm had passed, he stood in the middle of the field and said to his sons, "A plague of locusts would have left more than this. The hail has left nothing. This year we will have no corn." So, not a leaf remained on the trees after the hailstones. Not a leaf remained on the trees, especially in the fields. The corn was totally destroyed, completely destroyed, the cornfield. The flowers were gone from the plants, and all the flowers, they were gone from the plants. Lencho's soul was filled with sadness. Lencho's soul was filled with sadness. He was totally melancholic. When the storm had passed, he stood in the middle of the field and said to his sons. So, after the storm, he stood in the middle of the field, and then he said to his sons, "A plague of locusts would have left more than this." So, a plague of locusts means insects which fly in big swarms. Swarms means groups and destroy crops. Recently, we have read the locust attack in North India. In the fields of the North Indian farmers, lakhs of locusts came there and attacked all the crops, and we have read news about in our newspapers. And at last, some of the farmers, they even catch the locusts and they fried and even used it as their food. So similarly, even a swarm of locusts or a group of locusts would come and attack the field, then there will be something more left. But here, after these hailstones, nothing left, totally destroyed the farm. The hail has left nothing. This year we will have no corn. So this year, my dear sons, this year we will have no corns. That night was a sorrowful one for Lencho and his family. That night was a sorrowful one. All our work for nothing. There is no one who can help us. We will all go hungry this year. So they are all lamenting. They are all wailing. All our work for nothing, and there is no one who can help us. No one is there to help us. And we will all go hungry this year. No doubt, we will all go hungry this year. So, a tragic situation for Lencho and his family. But in the hearts of all who lived in that solitary house, in the middle of the valley, there was a single hope: help from God. So, I have already said, Lencho, he was an ardent believer of God. He believes in God. That's why in the hearts of all who lived in that solitary means single, solitary house in the middle of the valley, only one in that family who has that ardent belief, that is Lencho. There in the depth of his heart, there was a single hope: help from God. Only God can save us. Don't be so upset. Even though this seems like a total loss, remember, no one dies of hunger. So he said to his family members, don't be so upset. Even though this seems like a total loss, but remember, no one dies of hunger. There is a quote in the Bible, ഭയപ്പെടേണ്ട ഞാൻ നിന്നോട് കൂടെയുണ്ട്. Just like that, God be with us. No need to worry. Remember, no one dies of hunger. Lencho consoled his family. That's what they say, no one dies of hunger. All through the night, Lencho thought only of his one hope, the help of God, whose eyes, as he had been instructed, see everything, even what is deep in one's conscience. So all night, Lencho, he couldn't sleep that night. All that night he was thinking, and in his mind only one thought. What was that? Only one can help us. Yes, God can. The help of God, whose eyes, as he had been instructed. So they are written on in our holy books that God can see everything. He sees everything. So he sees everything, and even what is deep in one's conscience, mind, manasakshi. He can see what are our thoughts, what is there in our conscience. That is the power of God. So he sees everything. So again I said, he's a strong believer of God. And Lencho was an ox of a man, walking like an animal in the fields, but still he knew how to write. Lencho was an ox of a man walking like an animal in the fields, means he was a hard worker. He was a hard-earned farmer, walking like an ox. കാളയെ പോലെ പണിയെടുക്കുക നമ്മൾ പറയും. Still he knows how to write, which means he is literate. Most of the hard-working farmers, majority of them, they work hard, but majority of them were illiterate. But here Lencho, he is literate. He knew how to write. The following Sunday at daybreak, he began to write a letter which he himself would carry to town and place in the mail. It was nothing less than a letter to God. So what happened? That night, Lencho, at last, he took a decision. What was his decision? The next Sunday, the following Sunday, at daybreak, he began to write a letter. So he started writing a letter, which he himself would carry to town and place in the mail. Lencho himself carry that letter to the town and then place that letter in the mail. It was nothing less than a letter to God. So to whom he wrote that letter? A letter to God. It's a funny thing for us. We think this fellow is crazy. But what he believes in God. That's why he revealed or disclosed his worries, his anxieties, his problems, everything, and the calamity happened to him. He wrote in detail and then posted a letter to God. God, he wrote, if you don't help me, my family and I'll go hungry this year. In that letter, Lencho wrote, God, if you don't help me, my family and I'll go hungry this year. I need 100 pesos in order to sow my field again to live until the crop comes because the hailstorm. Lencho, he demanded or he requested, God, please grant 100 pesos. Peso is a Latin American currency. And he requested 100 pesos from God because I need 100 pesos in order to sow my field again. I need to sow my field again because those cornflowers, now all that is useless now. So I want to sow my field again and to live until the crop comes. So until harvest, when I sow the field and until next harvest, me and my family have to live. So for that I need 100 pesos. All this happened because the hailstorm. Oh God, I am not responsible for all this. You knew better you knew all what happened there. So all this happened because of the hailstorm. So please, I need 100 pesos. He wrote to God on the envelope. So to address column, he wrote to God. Envelope means the cover. Put the letter inside and still troubled, went to town. At the post office, he placed a stamp on the letter and dropped it into the mailbox. And after that, he put that letter into the envelope. Then at the post office, he placed a stamp on the letter. He placed a stamp on the letter and dropped it into the mailbox. One of the employees, who was a postman and also helped at the post office, went to his boss laughing heartily and showed him the letter to God. So when the postman who collected the letter from the mailbox and that fellow who showed this letter to his boss, and he laughed heartily because in that letter Lencho wrote in the to address section to God. Never in his career as a postman he had known that address, and he said to his boss, oh my dear boss, I have never in my career seen this sort of an address to God. The postmaster, a fat, amiable means friendly and pleasant. That postmaster, his boss, he was fat but he was very friendly and cordial and a pleasant fellow. Also broke out laughing. At first the postmaster also began to laugh, but almost immediately he turned serious and tapping the letter on his desk commented, what faith! I wish I had the faith of the man who wrote this letter, starting up a correspondence with God. So at first he laughed. Suddenly he turned serious and he said, tapping the letter on his desk. And he commented, "What faith! Oh, what a strong faith that man has. That man has such a strong faith. And I wish I had the faith of the man. I wish I had." It's a usage. It's an imaginary condition. I wish I had. If we use I wish, or he wishes or she wishes, in the second part will be in past. I wish I had. If the first part I wished, or he wished or she wished, then the second part will become in past perfect. For example, here I wished, then I had. Here I wish, so I had. Suppose here I wished, then that changes to I had. So first part in the present tense, then second part should be in past. If first part in the past, then second part should be in past perfect. That is the grammatical use of I wish I had. എനിക്ക് അങ്ങനെ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നെങ്കിൽ എന്നുള്ളതാണ് ഇമാജിനറി കണ്ടീഷനാണ് ഒരു തരം. Similarly here, what faith I wish I had, the faith of man who wrote this letter, starting up a correspondence with God. Oh, what sort of a relation between that man and God. Such a strong faith. I wish I had such faith, that postmaster commented. And then he began to open the letter. So, now here, the postmaster is going to open the letter. And suppose he reads that letter. And after that, what would be his next move? And what is that man going to do? Or what reply Lencho will get? These are the questions we are eager to answer or eager to know. That's in the next part of our story. Before that, from this section, you have to find out the answers of these following questions. First one is, what were Lencho's feeling when the hail stopped? So last class, we said the hailstones happened, and after that, what were Lencho's feelings when the hail stopped? And then, who or what did Lencho have faith in? What did he do? These are all questions from this given passage we have discussed already. You can easily find out the answer when you go through the text. Then, who read the letter? Who read the letter? These are the three questions from this part of the story. First one is, what were Lencho's feelings when the hail stopped? Second one, who or what did Lencho have faith in? What did he do? Then third one, who read the letter? Who read the letter? So, in the next part we will discuss, after reading the letter, what the postmaster is going to do. Did Lencho get a reply? Or will he get a reply? Or suppose the God sent him money or not? These are the questions await in the next episodes. Hope you understand today's class. Before winding up, remember last class I asked a question from God of Small Things, written by Arundhati Roy. I asked the name of the village mentioned in the novel God of Small Things. The answer is Aimanam near Meenachilar, a very famous, a beautiful village. And today again another quote. It's a quote about God. This quote by an eminent person. Find out who delivered these words. The quote, before God we are all equally wise and equally foolish. Before God we are all equally wise and equally foolish. Find out who delivered these words and send me the answer. Until then, thank you and have a nice day.